They paid?
Right there is fine.
They paid?
Huh? I don't know.
Well, they ain't paid, they gotta move.
Welcome to Hide and Seek TV. I'm about to get ready to do a very, very deep breakdown on this whole thing with the Floyd Mayweather fight. But really, I'm going to be touching a lot of levels in this because I want to explain a lot of the blasphemy aspect as well. So I want y'all to really, bear with me in this video. I'm going to take it slow with y'all and to really break all of this stuff down because, like I said, y'all, the location, all of this stuff matters. And I want y'all to really bear with me. So I'm going to start this off right quick. First off, we already know Floyd had this fight at 44 years old against Logan Paul. And like I've been breaking this down about the number 44 representing nothing but the Ark of the Covenant. You feel? That's why I was breaking it down before about why Obama was the 44th president, because all that represents is nothing but the whole aspect of them trying to hijack the covenant, from the Messiah. You know what I mean? Everything is coming into fruition because when you understand this anyway, the fight took place in Miami and it was billed as a bragging rights type of fight. That's what the whole fight was about, bragging rights. Hence, it was at the Hard Rock Stadium. And as we know anyway, when you understand all of these codes, rock anyway, if you understand that all that represents is nothing but the whole aspect of the stone. And as it's written anyway, that the Messiah is as the rock. You feel what I'm saying? And we already know how the Masons, they use the stone aspect to try to build their kingdom without him being their foundation. Do you get where I'm going with this? The Masons don't want to build, their kingdom with the Messiah being the headstone because it's that deep. Because as I've been breaking this down, that the Messiah is the Lewis stone that the Freemasons reject to use, as it's written in Psalms 118:22. The stone which the builders refuse has now become the headstone of the world. The whole aspect of the Lewis stone. Hint, hallelujah. You know what I mean? The whole aspect of Lucifer, hint the whole aspect of him being the great blasphemer. You see what I'm saying? Because all we already know, Lucifer don't mean nothing but light bearer. And as we know, he is a false light. You feel what I'm saying? So all of this stuff comes together. And when you understand that it took place in the Miami Gardens, which is very serious because like I've been breaking this down about the golf and I'm about to show this real deep on a lot of levels throughout this video and to prove my point. But when you understand anyway the Bermuda Triangle, notice you got the headstone, aka Messiah aspect, pointing towards the Gulf of Mexico. Hint Florida, Louisiana, hint Louisiana. I'm gonna delve into that in this video. Texas, all in the Gulf, because as we know, as is written in Luke 16:26, and beside all this, between us and you, there is a great gulf fixed. You see how all of this stuff comes together. So we got to really pay attention to this because all of this was all about bragging rights. It all represented nothing but the Messiah, taking over the Ark of the Covenant. They did it earlier this year when you had Godzilla versus King Kong. Remember, you had King Godzilla out there in Pensacola, Florida. Remember that, because that all represents the Gulf. And when you understand, as is written in Revelation 13 about the beast that emerged out the sea, what does it do? It comes to bring great blasphemy and deception. You know what I mean? And what I want to talk about is this picture right here, which is very powerful. Because for one, which is so serious, is if obviously if you notice, you got Floyd Mayweather wearing the glasses anyway. When they wear glasses, remember the whole aspect of wearing the glasses represents the enhanced vision. You know what I mean? And the whole theme of like basically when you understand where I'm going with this, and I'm gonna prove my point, all the aspect of the glasses. Remember Superman, remember he aware Superman with Clark Kent will wear his glasses and then he enhance and become the mighty man, the mighty Superman. The whole aspect of this is why they had a big size difference and all of that, because it was proven the whole aspect of the Messiah rising up against the false light. You know what I mean? Look how they had to have the black and the white aspect in this fight. So it represents nothing but the Messiah being the light bearer, the true light, rising up against the false light, hint the white versus black. But when you understand the fan right behind them, this is not by mistake. Because like I broke this down on one of my videos before, remember this year out in Texas, remember you had the lady out there saying that her fan was dripping blood and she didn't know why. Remember that. I broke that down already. And when you understand the whole aspect of the fan, as it's written in Matthew 13:24, another parable he put forth to them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is like a man who sowed good seed in his field, hint the meal. You know what I mean? Like the fan, the whole aspect of like dealing with the whole aspect of work in the field. And you see how I said, but while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. All that's talking about is basically the enemy, aka Satan, sowing, wickedness among the wheat, aka the children of God. You know what I'm saying? But when the grain had sprouted and produced a crop, then the tares also appeared. So the servants of the owner came and said to him, Sir, did you not sow good seed in your field? How then does it have tares? He said to them, An enemy has done this. The servant said, Do you want us to go to them and gather them up? He said, No, lest while you gather up the tares, you also uproot the wheat with them. Let both grow together into the harvest. And at the end of the time of the harvest, I would say to the reapers, First gather together the tares and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. So all that represents is the whole aspect of like the wicked and the righteous. The wicked going through the fire to be destroyed aspect, and then the righteous are gathered and protected, in hell in the barn, aka the kingdom of heaven. This is all of this stuff connects together. The little simple stuff that they do that people don't really pay attention to because we're not hip to think this way. They don't teach us to think this way in school. So hit the whole aspect of the fight anyway. The fight was all about, it had DraftKings. Notice how it has DraftKings all over the arena. You see that Illuminati hand gesture, Masonic hand gesture right there anyway. But when you look at it, it got the DraftKings all over the arena. And then you got Cash App is the main sponsor, because when you understand that anyway, DraftKings represent nothing but like who gonna be the one to rule the Ark of the Covenant. You feel what I'm saying? Hold on, my bad. Who gonna be the one to rule the Ark of the Covenant? You feel what I mean? And the whole aspect of that anyway, that's all it's saying. And the Cash App represent nothing but the digital dollar, because as we know that the treasures are stored in heaven. This is why they're pushing the digital dollar now, so they can have their heaven on earth. And then you already know the Most High told us to store our treasures in heaven, not on earth, because the thieves are come and take it away. So when you understand all of this, that's all it was about. You know what I mean? It was all about who gonna rule the covenant and who's gonna rule the world and become the true king. That's why they had to do this fight in Florida, because that all represent nothing but the whole aspect of ruling, the aspect of the Gulf. You feel what I'm saying? This stuff is that real, man. Because when Florida anyway don't mean nothing but what? The cosmic fruit. You feel what I'm saying? That's how deep that goes. So that's why you had this year, all throughout what was the last couple of years, you've been having Florida versus California teams. You feel what I'm saying? So I want to really just delve deeper into all of this, because hint prove my point too. Logan Paul's father is what? He's a real a real estate man, and he's a commercial roofer. And when you understand that anyway, the licensed real estate man, anyway, realtor, when you understand that, all that is basically talking about the aspect of like establishing the kingdom. This is why their kingdom, this is why they had to, like I just showed you the whole theme of the Cash App and the DraftKings and the Ark of the Covenant aspect, why he had to fight Floyd at 44. And the whole theme too of the commercial roofer, because all that represents is nothing but trying to prevent the Messiah from reaching the top of being a headstone. Hence the commercial roofer, trying to block him from coming into power. They put all of this stuff out there and they try to, to confuse the people, and it just sounds simple. Like I said, if you don't understand it, I totally understand. That's why I don't come and, bash people who don't understand this, because we're not hardwired to think this way. People are hardwired to think simple and just go with the flow. You know what I'm saying? So let's delve even deeper into this, man. So hint the whole aspect too. It was a movie that came out. Let me show it right quick. A movie that came out like a year or two ago. My fault, like 2 years ago. Notice the girl. Her name was Haley. She was actually a swimmer. And when you understand the whole aspect of the swimmer, all that this is why she was able to survive the hurricane and all of that stuff. The whole aspect of being a swimmer represents nothing but the whole theme of like the living waters, being the one who's able to dwell with the Messiah and everything, who's walking with the Messiah. You know what I mean? So the whole aspect of that, you see how you have the big mega gator that was in the water in her basement. And I may break this down because this is a very serious thing. Notice how she was standing on top of a car. And when you understand the aspect of car anyway, like I've been breaking this down, the name Kara don't mean nothing but what? The anointed one, the head one. You know what I mean? aka Messiah. So I'm gonna delve into this, and I want y'all to really hear me out on this. This is deep, y'all. Whole aspect of Clover Lewis swimwear. Now, this is that deep because when you understand clover, as we know anyway, that the Messiah shall sprout up as a lily, hint the aspect of the clover leaf. And when you understand the aspect of the Lewis, like I said, the Lewis, like the whole aspect of the headstone that the Masons reject to use. And I'm going to show something else in 1 second. Just give me a moment. But when you understand the whole aspect anyway of the swimwear, all that all goes to is the aspect of the man out the sea. Because it's just written in 2nd Ezra 13, and he said unto me, like as thou canst not neither seek out nor know the things that are done in the deep of the sea, even so no man upon earth see my son or those that be with him, but in the day and time. Because hint the aspect of the Messiah being revealed. Hint during the 21st century, we were able to really understand the map aspect. You know what I mean? This stuff is that real. And what I want to show too, to prove my point, hint why Louis Freese is the first male, Sports Illustrated, the guy like basically was trying to put on like on a Sports Illustrated cover. His name is Louis. He's a swimmer. And notice how he's 21 years old, because all that represents is the aspect of the 21st century when the Messiah being revealed, how he's coming into power. So hint that whole aspect right here of how she's standing on top of the roof of the car, and you see the curtains open too. Because what's so deep about that, y'all? Because as we know anyway, that the curtains, remember during the crucifixion of the Messiah, that the curtains split, the veil unveiled that he was the Son of God during the crucifixion. So when you look at this, you see how she's on top of the car roof, and she's like trying to escape away from the alligator, because that represent nothing but the beast out the seas that I was talking about earlier. The whole aspect of like the whole aspect of the great deceiver, you know what I mean? The great blasphemer, the enemy, the antichrist aspect. So you see how all of this comes together. And to prove my point on the movie, the girl, her name, like I said, was Haley. Her sister on the movie, I'm gonna show it in a minute, but her name was Louie. Come on, y'all. Her name was Louie. Listen to this.
Search on your phone, it's gonna hit really hard. Louie, honey, hey, Bubba.
You see that, Louie? Come on, y'all. And then her mom name was Emma, who was played by what? Anna Maria. You know what I mean? Hint the whole name of Anna. Remember I was talking about the Louisiana. Remember when I was talking about that? This is not by mistake, y'all. And on the movie, what tripped me out is how Louis ended up living in Boston. They moved to Boston because they basically moved on to that area because they was living in Florida on this movie. This is proving my point about Floyd Mayweather and everything with the Florida fight, and the whole aspect of Godzilla being in Pensacola, Florida, because the whole aspect of this, her name was Louisiana. Her mama name is played by a lady named Anna Maria, and the baby name is Louis, hint Louis. So the whole aspect of the Louisiana, and how they moved to Boston, because when you understand Boston anyway, remember you got Boston as what? Boston is what it was right by Plymouth, Massachusetts, where everything started out, how America was called built on a rock, all blaspheming as the Messiah being a headstone that they said they basically built the kingdom, they built the new Jerusalem. Because when you understand Jerusalem, when you spell it out, it's JERUSALEM. You feel what I'm saying? How all of this comes together. It's no way around this stuff, y'all. Notice how they was living in Boston. You feel what I'm saying? It's that real, y'all. And pay attention to this. This is her dad on the movie. His name is Dave. Hint the Messiah comes through the house of David. But notice how the father real name, the guy who played him name is Barry Pepper. Hint, you remember they call Obama Barry, because remember when I was talking about it earlier about the Ark of the Covenant. So it's all blasphemy. You feel what I mean? They trying to say that the Messiah is the aspect of like the Messiah, the aspect of that, like them being the rulers of the covenant. You get where I'm going with this. But you remember, as it's written anyway, that the Messiah should come through the house of David. Look at this. Dave Keller Construction. Dave Keller Construction. Probably have a ladder somewhere, so please. Probably have a ladder somewhere. Hit the whole aspect of building the kingdom through the house of David. This stuff is all in our face, man, and there's no way around it. And what I want to talk about too, right quick, before I really go on with this, because it literally blew my mind, this whole aspect. Let's delve into all of this. My point yet again, yo. I'm about to prove my point yet again. It was a movie. Everybody probably remember this movie was real good back in the day for those who watch like martial arts fighting movies. The movie was written by Chris, aka Christ, produced by David. Come on, y'all. Let's delve into it because you had this called Never Back Down. Jake Tyler and his younger brother Charlie moved from Iowa to Orlando, Florida. When you understand the aspect of Jake, that don't mean nothing but Jacob, aka the 12 tribes of Israel. Remember, the Messiah comes out of Judah. And when you understand the name Charlie, like I've been breaking this down for the longest, Charlie don't mean nothing but like Chuck don't mean nothing but Charlie. It's like short for Charlie. And when you understand a Chuck anyway, when you know the Chuck in mason work, stone mason work, you use the chuck, aka pulley system, to like raise up stones to build your structure. So hint the whole aspect of the Charlie being his little brother, because that all represent nothing but the Messiah rising up, you know what I mean, to become the headstone. So hint how they come from Iowa and they move to Florida. Here go another situation with Florida. When you understand Iowa, Iowa is called what? The Hawkeye state, right? And when you understand the whole aspect of the Hawkeye anyway, which is so deep, because remember the Messiah is as a hawk, as a flying eagle. And when you understand Iowa, Iowa was a part of Louisiana back in the day, of the Spanish and French Louisiana back in the day. And when you know about this, which is so crazy, how all of that connect back to what I was talking about with the girl with Louisiana. You feel what I'm saying? So I want to show y'all some stuff right quick because I got a theme that I want to show y'all because it's all in our face. And I'm going to play it right quick. Hold on. Look at this right here. This is Jake. Notice he's wearing number 44. And his team is called the Knights. And he was playing against the Hornets. Hint, the Messiah is as a knight, as a warrior, and a hornet represent nothing but like the whole aspect of like the killer bees. Because in the book of Psalms, it already said that David said that his enemies encompass him like bees. Hint, the whole aspect of the Wu-Tang, how they called themselves the killer bees. And remember how they used to have like the Wu-Tang symbol, which was, they call it the guillotine, because that represent them wanting to remove the Messiah from being as the head. You know what I'm saying? So pay attention to this. 44 is killing us. Get in there and stop him. Come on, y'all. Look at this.
Number of useless facts in your head.
Miles from here to Orlando.
You hear that? Miles from Iowa to Orlando. Hint the 44. So you see what I'm talking about? This stuff is all in our face, man. Everything is in our face. Let's get into this for real. This is crazy. I was talking about Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather having a 30-pound weight difference, and how the whole aspect was the DraftKings. Just proving my point. Hint, David at age 30 became the king of Israel. Hint, the 30-pound weight difference. And when you understand the 30 anyway, the 30, all that vibrates on is like the aspect of the hangman card. The hangman, Illuminati, all the whole aspect of tarot, whatever, the whole theme of the hangman aspect, the sacrifice. You feel that all vibrates on the 30. Hint how they want to keep the Messiah as a sacrifice so that he don't become as king. They want to literally hijack the Ark of the Covenant. You feel what I'm saying? All of this comes together. And what I want to talk about too, right quick, as I forgot to mention, for those who probably already seen my videos, you already know where I'm about to go with this. Remember I said about the whole aspect of the no headstone? Now look at this right here. Hint, the top of the headstone is 76 degrees, because that represents nothing but the whole aspect of the Messiah being the head. You feel where I'm going with this? And when you notice, to prove my point about that, hint, in 1976 is when they made the Copyright Act to protect the Fair Use Act. You feel what I'm saying? All of this comes together. And notice it came in 1999 when it went into full effect. It's because of what? The whole aspect that was right before the 21st century, in the year 2000. And when you notice about 1976 anyway, hint, that's when the LLC was created in 1977 more so. But it started out there where? It was born where? In Wyoming. Hint, that's the whole aspect of like business, like in the aspect of being like in a theme of freedom. You know what I mean? That whole just keeping it simple. Before I can elaborate on this in a whole nother video. But the whole aspect of the Wyoming, anyway, why I started in Wyoming, the LLC, is because of what? The 44th is what? Wyoming is the 44th state. It was a part of the Louisiana Purchase. And what is it called? The Highway to Heaven, yo. Come on, y'all. The Highway to Heaven. You see that right there? The Highway to Heaven, man. It's no mistake how all of this connects. You feel what I mean? All of this stuff connects. And when you understand LLC anyway, I'm about to get into that real deep. Because when you look at the pyramid, you see how you got the CL down there, the LC at the bottom of the pyramid? MDCCLC. You know what I mean? CC, my bad, MDCCL. That whole aspect of the LC. Hint the LLC. And then I'm going to show y'all something right quick that I want to really delve into. Because when you understand, where is it at? When you understand this right here, this is a show called The Family Business. And it's really a show on BET. It's called The Family Business. And this guy named right here, his name is Lewis. And he's the brother of LC. You know, Uncle Lou. And he's the brother of LC. You know what I mean? And they own like the Duncan car, no, you know, the Duncan car motors, you know, on the show. And that's so deep because when you understand the whole aspect of the car anyway, like I was reading earlier about the name Kara don't mean nothing but what? The Messiah. You know what I mean? Notice how the LC, how he's the brother of Lewis on the show Family Business. And hint on the show on the iPet Goat on YouTube, you got the LC right there. You see how all that's coming to Lewis Carroll. Because when you understand the whole aspect of Lewis Carroll, remember he created Alice in Wonderland. And when you understand Lewis, like I was talking about, I'm about to show it in 1 second, and the name Carroll deriving from Kara. You know what I mean? How Lewis is the headstone that the Masons reject to use. Because when you understand Alice in Wonderland, that's why she was inside of the golden circle on the iPet Go. You get what I'm saying? All of this stuff comes together, man. All of it comes together. The LC, that's why it's at the bottom of the pyramid, because that all represents basically keeping the Messiah low so that they can be high and rule. You feel what I mean? And at the same time, too, of using him as blasphemy to build their kingdom. You know what I mean? He's like the blasphemy of the foundation of blasphemy. Hint the food pyramid. I'm going to show y'all this right quick. Notice at the bottom of the food pyramid, you have what? You have bread. And remember, as it's written, man should not live by bread alone. You know that they have to have the spirit. Bread is just knowledge, and it'll lead to pride. You know what I'm saying? And it just, all of that is not gaining any spiritual thing of salvation. So hint why the bread is the bottom, because as we know anyway, that what? The Messiah is the bread of life. You feel where I'm going? So let's delve deeper into this. Movie called Carolina Skeletons. Hint the whole aspect of the Kara again. And I'm gonna delve into that because hint the main character name is his real name is Lewis Jr. Come on, y'all. He plays James. And when we know about James anyway, remember in the scriptures, James, what did he do? He led Israel, you know, in the aspect of, you know, returning in the theme of following the laws of the Most High, just keeping it simple. But hint wise, literally have Lewis as the main character. He plays a character named James. And then you have Bill Cobbs as Elijah. And like I've been breaking this down for a while now, the name Bill means what? It comes from William. Hint Exodus 3:14. I am that I am is the name that God told Moses. You know what I mean? It's his name. I am that I am. Hint the will of I am. The will of God. Bill plays Elijah. Remember Elijah, the Most High said before the day of his coming that he shall send Elijah. And all of that ties back to John the Baptist. But that's another video for another day. But you get where I'm going with this. All of this comes together, man. Let's really get into this, man. You know, for all my gamers out there, the other day I was playing Call of Duty, or last night more so, and I was playing Call of Duty and I was looking at it. I'm like, wow, you got the Kars River. You know what I mean? The whole aspect of the Kars, aka Karas, aka Christ. It's like that's like the ancient way of saying Christ, Karas. So when you look at this, notice how you got the Karas River, and it's really right by the salt mine. And when you understand it anyway, this is that serious. Let's delve into that right quick. aspect of the salt mine, because hint how it says that ye are the salt of the earth. Hint it was talking about Israel. But if the salt have lost its savor, hint the whole aspect, ye are the salt of the earth, meaning holy. But if the salt lost its savor, wherewith shall it be salted? Basically meaning like the whole aspect, it said that it is thenceforth good for nothing but to be cast out and to be trodden under the foot of men. Basically like the whole aspect of the work of masons, or just having the spirit of antichrist in you anyway, you know what I mean? The whole aspect of great rebellion against the most high. So hint the whole aspect of the Korah salt mine. And when you pay attention to that too, notice the places it's at, because you see it's by the lumber, as we know anyway that the Messiah is as a carpenter, hint the lumber. You got it by the train station. All train station mean anyway is nothing but the Exodus. Notice the train station is right by the boneyard. For those who can see, let me pull it up a little bit. Notice the train station is right by the boneyard, because as we know anyway that in the valley of dry bones, showed the souls come back alive. You know how the Most High already said that that he is not the God of the dead, but of the living. So hence why the train station is right by the boneyard, because that represent nothing but the whole theme of like basically like the left behind, the dry bones. You feel what I'm saying? All of this stuff is all in our face. And it's like who we gotta have the eyes to see. It's everywhere. You feel what I mean? It's everywhere. And hint too, like I was breaking this down on my last video, hint the pi sign, the 3.14 pi sign. And remember I was breaking this down about how that represent nothing but the gate. I remember I was written anyway that the Messiah is as the gates. Hint why St. Louis area code is 3.14. 314. Hint the 3.14, aka pi. Messiah being the pi, the bread of life. So hint how he is the gate to the kingdom. Remember, I was just reading about Wyoming being the gateway to heaven. So you see how all of that comes together, and how they got number 7 right over the pie, because that all represents nothing but the Messiah aspect. It's no mistake. You know what I'm saying? And what I want to talk about right quick is when you understand the name Yahushua anyway, when you translate it into the Greek, how it becomes, leisures, you know what I mean, aspect. And when you understand the whole thing anyway, like hint ludicrous. That's why I want to say it like that. Ludicrous. When you understand ludicrous, remember it was no L back in the Greek. It was no J back in the Greek. It was an L. Remember that. So when you understand ludicrous is really like the way of saying Judacris. Judah Christ, Christ from the tribe of Judah. So when you look at this right here, look how it translates to, Jesus, obviously, because when J was not even around, you know what I mean? So look how that all comes into Lewis. Just to show that, I want to just explain how Yahushua in the Hebrew, the Messiah's name, when it comes into the English, it forms as Lewis. You know what I mean? This is that real. All of this stuff is all in our face. Hint why on Call of Duty, one of the best guns is called the car. One of the best rifles is called the car. Hint the whole aspect of what I just read to y'all. Kara, it means nothing but the Messiah. You know what I'm saying? All of this stuff is in our face. You feel me? It's all in our face. So let's keep this thing flowing some more. One of the shows I actually used to watch a lot, called All American. Hint, you had Billy as the coach. You know what I'm saying? Remember, he came from Beverly Hills, because when you understand that anyway, let's get into this. From Beverly Hills, and then he went to Crenshaw, which is like in the hood, because when you understand that anyway, the whole aspect of how he's coaching at Crenshaw, which is so deep, is because when you pay attention to that, Crenshaw don't mean nothing but the crane. Remember, I was breaking it down, I think, on my Nipsey Hussle video. And that all goes back to the aspect of the Lewis being like the crane to raise the Messiah into becoming the headstone. You know what I'm saying? Hint how all of this comes together. Hint his son name was what? Was Jordan. And as we know anyway that the Messiah was baptized in what? The Jordan River. The whole aspect of the Spirit of God descending like a dove and lightning upon him. You feel what I mean? All of this comes together. Notice why Billy, remember I said Billy, aka the will of I am, you know what I mean? The will of God is the father of Jordan. Like, come on, y'all. And when you understand that anyway, Matthew 3:16, remember when I was saying that about the whole aspect of the Jordan River? Hint why the area code for Kansas is what? 316. Hint John 316. And you know how I've been breaking that down about Kansas, how Kansas don't mean nothing but what? It don't mean nothing but the whole aspect of the Messiah. You know, it basically means people of the South Wind. And as we know that the Messiah is called what? The South Wind. And when you know it anyway, how it says that the Messiah will be as the whirlwind, remember how Kansas is in Tornado Alley. You feel what I'm saying? And when you look at it, Kansas was a part of Louisiana as well. Remember, I was just talking about Louisiana. And it was the 34th state. Because when you understand the number 34, all that deals with is the axis of the world. So I'm just really just proving my point with this. It all comes together, man. And what I was watching the other day too, I ain't gonna really spoil. I ain't gonna talk too much on this movie because I don't want to spoil it for those who ain't seen it. But it's a movie called The Favorite Son on BET, and it's a deep movie because the father on the movie, his name was Billy. You feel what I'm saying? The father right here, his name was Billy. And when you understand the movie, the son was real talented at music. So like basically the father wanted him, he gave him a whole thing to work over in the church and things like that, but he didn't want to do that. He went down to Atlanta and a lot of stuff happened. You know what I'm saying? The father was like, you should have just did the way I told you because you're gonna regret it. You know what I mean? Obviously, they had to make the father as a drunk because as we know anyway, that the Messiah is as wine. So they had to make the pastor as a drunk. You know what I mean? But when you look at it, hint the whole aspect of the cactus behind him. Because when you understand the aspect of the cactus don't represent nothing but the whole theme of the Messiah being as a sacrifice. Remember when I was talking about the aspect earlier about the hanged man? Remember when I was talking about that earlier? So when you understand that that represents them wanting to keep him as a sacrifice so that they can be rulers and as famous as gods themselves. Hint why Pooh Shiesty got it on his hat. DMX got the same sign on his shirt. Travis Scott do the Cactus Jack. Mick Foley, remember off Mankind off WWE used to do the Wanted Dead Cactus Jack. You know what I mean? All of this stuff is all blasphemy. You feel what I mean? But the whole aspect of that, what was so deep on this movie is how they was in Texas and then how the son went from Texas to Atlanta. Because when you understand Texas anyway, Texas don't represent nothing but like the Longhorn, Lone Star State, and as we know, the Messiah is as the horns of salvation, and that's the Star of Bethlehem. How they was living in Texas, and you have Billy in Texas. You know what I mean? I'm gonna show some more. But hint while on the movie, you got the guy right here, the sun, and you got the stone with purple all over it. Because all that represents is nothing but the purple, you know, that whole aspect represents nothing but the whole thing of like the royalty as well. And it represents like the higher mind. Remember the whole thing of the purple, you can look at it too, like in a sense of the Babylonian aspect, because you know the purple rain with Prince, etc. But like on this theme, it's like how you got the fire at the bottom anyway, right? It's like a fireplace. So when you understand that, that represents nothing but like the Messiah being like bronze as he's burning in a furnace. And then you got the purple of him coming into royalty. And then the stone represents like him being like the foundation that we build upon. You feel what I'm saying? It's that deep. And hint on the movie, it was the girl, I think it was one of the guys over like the gospel label or whatever, and like his wife wanted to sleep around with the guy. He said no, he wasn't feeling that. But anyway, she basically went on live TV on the Ray show, because when you understand the whole aspect of that, all the Ray aspect comes from is in the sense of Ra. You know what I mean? The Amen Ra, the Amonra, the Amen Ra. So when you have that, notice why Ivy represent nothing but like Jezebel going on there to gossip and spread lies about him. You know what I mean? All of this comes together. It all comes together. But I'm gonna play this clip right quick and chime on in. Pay attention to this.
Man. It's poured down, huh? It is, man. But I wouldn't be your son if I ain't know how to drive in this. Don't worry about it. I got you.
Notice the whole aspect of how the dad dies in the storm. You know what I mean? Because the son, that guy that was just driving Rotimi off Power, you know, the guy who played on Power, he was the one driving. He's the brother of this guy right here. But anyway, he did some dirty stuff. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna, like I said, I ain't gonna spoil it. but like basically it led the dad to the death. How our sins lead the Messiah to being as what? The hangman, the crucifixion, keeping him as a sacrifice. It's that real, man. All of this comes and it all comes together. You know what I mean? And I just really want to show this because I really want to elaborate on the whole aspect of like the Floyd fight and how deep this thing was really rooted. You know, it's bigger than just some entertainment. It all got like a heavy load to it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm actually going to end that right here. Thank you for watching Hide and Seek TV. Much more is coming. Peace.